Hello everybody, I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version. So this time is about politics, but not so difficult this time. So let me tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. The title is Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump Part 1. And the conclusion is considering the future of the United States, Americans should vote for Donald Trump 2 years after this time. So I'm recording creating this episode in wait a moment please. Yeah. In the middle of November in 2022. So in the middle, not in the middle. So in the end, or in the end, or the later half of November in the United States, or in 2022. I'm sorry for my for my giving you mistaken information or wrong information. So anyway, so what I have told you in the beginning is wrong, which means the recording time is not in the middle of November, but in the end of November in 2022, and the year is correct. And anyway, so which means the midterm elections was done in the United States of America, and so anyway, the candidate, Mr. Donald Trump did well, in that election. But actually, so maybe he could get certain huge amount of votes. But actually, so here I'd like to tell you that you should vote for, or you should have Mr. Donald Trump becomes the president of the United States of America 2 years after this president's time, or 2 years after this time. So the reason is that his policies are fully focused on the prosperity of the United States of America, not on the businesses taking place as other countries than the United States of America. So so of course I live in Japan, and so considering the local people in this country, so considering the positions of local people in this country, for example, this country is really close to the mainland China, so this country needs a military protection from the United States of America. But actually, so this country has American bases. But actually, so thinking about the bright future of the United States of the United States of America, American people should vote for Mr. Donald Trump. And to start with, another reason is that the last Ukrainian war. So I don't think United States of America needs to pay money for Ukrainian people. That is because no matter how many Ukrainian people die, no American people, no American people, or no American person, or no American people are influenced by huge amounts of the dead Ukrainian people. So thinking about which, so Ukrainian business it's not not the Ukrainian people is not necessary. Ukrainian, so United States of America should United States of America do not have to think about the businesses of Ukraine. And as I have told you, the businesses about Japan, and which is this country. So I live in Japan, and this country has American bases, or American soldiers, or American forces located in this country. And as another one is that there is a war between Russia and Ukraine, and Ukraine or the soil of Ukraine has been attacked, and so some territories had been ceded to Russian Federation. But actually, so Ukrainian soldiers are fighting against and counterattacking. They are counterattacking, Russian soldiers. But actually, so the situation is really difficult. But actually, so such problems are what are taking place in other countries than in the United States of America. And moreover, so this is not the sole problem actually. So there is for example, there are many problems. That country, United States has many problems, and another problem is that so I don't know whether you can remember that, one of the policies Mr. Donald Trump was that, so it's necessary to build up a great wall between Mexico and United States, which means, so, according to Mr. Donald Trump, a wall is necessary on the border, separating the soils between Mexico and the United States of America, and, so the purpose of that great wall is to block the influx of Mexican immigrants or other immigrants coming from other middle and southern American countries. So because, so for example, I think you can imagine the meaning or the true intention or the crux of that great wall, or the purpose or the function of that great wall. Or American Great Wall, Great Wall is the original Great Wall. Original Great Wall has been located in the mainland China, actually. But so American Great Wall is necessary because there are many so poor people and criminals coming from Latin American countries, and the typical example is Mexico, and anyway, so which is why the Great Wall is necessary, of course. So this, not only this country but also the United States has been dependent on the labors supplied by immigrants having come from poorer countries or more impoverished countries, and this country has. So in the case of Japan, this country depends on the labors coming from coming from southeastern Asian countries, anyway. And in the case of the United States of America, people have come from all over the world, and so particularly. So many people have come from middle and South American countries, and they speak, those people speak Spanish languages. Those people speak Spanish language as their mother tongue, and they have lived in the United States of America, and nobody knows whether they live in the American soil legally or illegally. And anyway, so that is the situation of the United States is such a thing. And another problem is that, wait a moment please. And so China is the diplomatic relationship between the mainland China and the United States of America. So according to all the proverb, or according to there's a typical or great proverb, which is the squeakiest wheel gets the grease, or the squeaky wheel gets the grease. There is such a proverb, or there is such a saying in the United States of America or English-speaking nation. But actually, so so there is a proverb, or there is a saying. There is a Chinese proverb. There is a Chinese proverb, or there is a Chinese saying equivalent to this American proverb, which is the squeaky wheel gets the grease. I don't know whether this proverb is only an American one, or this proverb is used in every English-speaking country. But actually, so the Chinese equivalent is that, wait a moment please. So this one,会哭的孩子有奶吃。Let me tell you again. Let me tell you that proverb, Chinese proverb again. So, 会哭的孩子有奶吃. And the meaning is the crying baby gets the milk. And so I'm going to tell you the translation again. The crying baby gets the milk. So the meaning is the same, which is why, so thinking about such a concerning such a cultural similarities between, or cultural similarities between the United States of America and mainland China, they can create good time each other, which is what I think. And So which means what? So this is that, or the crux of this episode is that, by cutting off helps for other countries, America can flourish higher than this present time, or higher than this time, or higher than that of this time. Of yes, such a thing is, which is what I'd like you to know this time. And why I created this episode is that, so the majority listeners of my podcast are American people, which is why so I created this episode. That is because, so the prosperity of American people means the prosperity of my podcast. There's such a correlation between American listeners and my podcast, because the majority listeners or the American listeners account for the largest part of the entire listeners of my podcast, which is a structure, which is how should I say, so statistic data of my podcast anyway. So which is why, so as I have told you in the beginning of this episode, so the conclusion is, considering the future of the United States, Americans should vote for Donald Trump 2 years after this time. So of course, in the case of midterm election, which took place in this year. So Mr. Donald Trump did well, but actually, so to have him becomes the president of the United States of America again. So more votes are necessary, which is what I'm saying. So to enable Mr. Donald Trump to become the president of the United States of America again. So he needs your vote, which is what I'm saying. So by doing which, of course, so I not only I need, but actually most Japanese people do American bases for protecting ourselves, or for protecting our lives. But actually, so we do not have, maybe if he becomes the president again, so maybe Japanese government is going to have to pay extra money for American bases. Anyway, so I have heard of such a thing, but actually, so Japanese people do not want to pay extra taxes for protecting themselves in favor of the United States of America, or in favor of the United States of America, or in favor of American soldiers who work in American bases in Japan. But actually, so thinking about the bright future of the United States of America, or thinking about the bright future of the US, or American bright future, so I recommend that all of you vote for Mr. Donald Trump 2 years after this time, which is what I'm saying. And the 2 years after this time means the presidency, which is going to take place for choosing, or for selecting the next president of America, which is what I'd like you to know this time. So please vote for Mr. Donald Trump. So let me tell you the title of this episode, and the title is, so Donald Trump Part 1. And why I wrote this title is that there was so when he was not when he was, or in the previous election of presidency, or in the previous presidency election in which Mr. Donald Trump had been chosen as president of America. and there was a basketball game, and so when a colored player did well, or maybe that was like a colored basketball player and got a score of basketball, and as a white students or other white observers began to say Donald Trump many times. So which is why I wrote this title, or I wrote this one in the title of this episode. And the conclusion is, I don't remember. I don't get full exact recollection about that basketball game anyway. But and anyway, the conclusion of this episode is, considering the future of the United States, Americans should vote for Donald Trump 2 years after this time. So please vote for the Mr. Donald Trump. So that's it. Thank you very much for everything. See you. Donald Trump, 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 Donald Trump. And I didn't have to speak out his name so many times, but actually, so this time, how should I say? That is a kind of a performance, or and that I try anyway. So I try to entertain the listeners. So I was trying to entertain you in my own manner. But actually, maybe so if you couldn't enjoy my that beginning phrases, or if you couldn't enjoy that very beginning part of this episode, so I failed to entertain you. I failed to have you feel happy anyway. So but actually, so I'm not so good at I'm not so good at entertaining other people, which is why actually, so I think you can understand that because if you are frequent listeners of my podcast, I think you have already understood that I'm really bad at entertaining other people. And hello everybody, I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version, and it's really difficult to tell you that so I have already told you the title of this episode, and the title is Donald Trump, and Donald Trump. And why I wrote this title is that this is about the time before even before the first presidency of Mr. Donald Trump. And so he has been accused of insurrection or something like rebellion or revolt against the capital, or the United States of America, or the incumbent government. And but actually, so even before the first, before going back to the or trailing back to the time before the beginning, or before the inauguration of the presidency of Mr. Donald Trump, in the time of election, or in the time of presidential election, and there was a basketball match, but there was a basketball match in which students were playing a basketball game, and there's a colored student who tried to shoot, but actually, so as the white spectators was there anyway, so those spectators was those not onlookers or observers were white students, and they began to say Donald Trump at so aligning to the same reason, and they began to say afterwards. Well, they began to that chorus, saying Donald Trump. So which is why I wrote that his name in the title of this episode. And so I don't know whether and I have seen that scene on what television news, and so that has been broadcast, that was broadcasted. So that was broadcast even in my country. By the way, I live in a developed country in East Asia, And so giving you a hint. So my country is an insular nation. I'm going to mistakenly tell you which language I use as my own mother tongue. And so there's a sound of siren coming from the outside. And by the way, so anyway, I should tell you the title of this episode. The title is so the title is What I Have Told You, and this is the part 2 in the same series. And there is a part 1 there is the part 1 of the same series, and in which I have recommended that you vote for Mr. Donald Trump 2 years after, which means, so the next president of the United States, should be Mr. Donald Trump, or Mr. Donald Trump should become the president of the United States after the incumbent president, Mr. Joe Biden. And the conclusion is, wait a moment please. So considering the future of the United States, Americans should vote for Donald Trump in the next presidential election. And I'm recording this episode in the town of year. And actually, so not maybe in the town of year. So giving you a hint. So this is just before the next year, which means this is the end of December in 2022. So anyway, a day or 2 days or 3 days after, so 2023, it's going to be started, or it's going to begin, which is the time of this recording, and which means maybe United States has decided, or the government has decided to supply or to donate to Patriot, which is the name of missiles, and the country which are going to be supplied with Patriot was the missiles is Ukraine. So United States has helped Ukraine for because as we have already known, there is a war between Russia and Ukraine, and maybe and I don't know. Because of this, I have lost interest in the Slavic War, or the last Ukrainian war anyway. But actually, so United States and maybe I don't know whether other European countries help or subsidize that country or Ukraine. But actually, so maybe there's a news in which Mr. Joe Biden, or the President Joe Biden, or the United States of America decided to give Patriot, or decided to donate or supply Patriot or missiles for Ukraine, or to Ukraine anyway. But actually, so which means West European countries and the United States of America have paid a lot of money, or they have paid a lot of capitals, or they have paid a lot of taxes, or taxes in the form of for example subsidy in favor of Ukraine, or the United States or United States and West European countries and other countries belonging to the West, or belonging to the military Western countries have given a lot of money and a lot of things other than money to Ukraine. And thanks to those subsidies, or thanks to those helps, or thanks to those supports, Ukraine have successfully fought against the Russian Federation, or fought against troops of Russia. and maybe that's the situation. And but actually, so unfortunately, so maybe four regions are ceded to Russia, which means so Russian Federation owns four regions, or anyway almost three regions. Maybe Kharkov or Kherson is owned by and the or the la- or the most of the soil, so the most of the territories of Kharkov or Kherson had been returned to Ukraine anyway, which is the situation of in that war. But actually, I think as long as United States continues to help other countries, so United States of America or people in United States are going to lose a lot of money, just not for themselves, but for people living in other countries. So, but actually, so if Mr. Donald Trump becomes the president of the United States of America, so he may stop, but he may quit such flow of money going out of the United States of America. Or so please make sure that, or please, I would like you to understand that the present or the incumbent structure, or incumbent, how should I say, financial situation, which means so not thanks to because of that the provocation of Russo-Ukrainian war, United States of America has paid a lot of money for helping Ukraine, but actually, and not only subsidies, or not only such monetary support for in favor of Ukraine, but actually, so but also United States has. So I'm a non-native speaker of English language, which is why so I make mistakes in, for example, in the things in using conjugations. And United States has helped, not helped. United States has bases outside the United States of America, and my country has some U.S. bases or some American bases located in Okinawa and maybe Yamaguchi Prefecture. And by the way, so as I have told you, I live in Japan, and that country has some American bases, and of course so I'd like the United States of America to support or to protect my own country, but actually so putting myself in the shoes of the situations of United putting myself in the shoes of the situations of the people in, or putting myself in the shoes of the situations of American people. I'm sorry for my clumsy manner of describing things, because as I have told you, I'm a non-native speaker of English language, and so anyway, not roughly saying, from rough description to detailed description. So, anyways, you should vote for Mr. Donald Trump, which is the truth in the case of the United States of America, and that is because there is a, how should I say this? There is a efflux, or please imagine that so United States of America has monetary flow going out of the United States of America, and thanks to for example the provocation of the last Ukrainian war, and another crisis is that China may provoke a war, or anyway roughly saying China may invade into Taiwan region. So which is why so United States of America has to help Taiwan, or has to protect Taiwan, and the United States of America may come to have to fight against the mainland China, but actually so the cause is not the behavior or the cause is not provoked by the United States itself. That is because because of the businesses of other countries. United States of America may fight against mainland China, which is a situation of the United States of America. But actually, so if Mr. Donald Trump becomes the president or the next president of the America, or yeah, so if such a thing happens, so he may stop supporting other countries, and he may stop intervening in other countries, which is or intervening with other countries, and which is beneficial for the United States of America itself. So I'd like so considering my own benefit. So I'd like you to vote for other candidates than Mr. Donald Trump. But actually, so if I think considering making most of your own benefits, or considering so enlightening or lighting or making your future bright. So you should vote for Mr. Donald Trump, which is what I'm saying. So maybe 2 years after the presidential election is going to begin again. Doesn't it? I don't know much. I don't know much about. I'm not familiar with. Anyway, so I'm not so familiar with political systems in the United States of America. But actually, so I know sort of political systems of the United States of America. But actually, so anyway, so which is why so I can say such a thing like you should vote for Mr. Donald Trump, and which is anyway, which is what I'd like you to know this time. So I'm going to tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. The title is Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. And the conclusion is that considering the future of the United States, Americans should vote for Donald Trump in the next presidential election. So although Mr. Donald Trump has been, he has been accused of, or he has been filed some lawsuits, or filed a lawsuit. He has been filed a lawsuit because of the interaction, and how should I say? Anyway, so so people supporting or supporters or advocates in favor of Mr. Donald Trump lashed into the capital in the United States of America. Maybe which is what happened in last year, or almost 2 years before. Anyway, but actually, so because of that event, because of that how should I say, because of that instance, Mr. Donald Trump has been accused of that instance. But actually, so he is still suitable for becoming the, or being the president of the United States of America, which is what I'd like you to know this time. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening. See you. Help! I need somebody help, not just anybody help. I need someone help. When I was younger, so much younger than today, help. I couldn't sing well actually, so wait a moment please. Anyway, so hello everybody, I'm Richard Gon of Back to the podcast version. So I have sung a song of Beatles without the permission of Beatles, and maybe some members of Beatles are still alive actually. So if my memory or if my understanding is correct, and maybe and to start with, Mr. John Lennon has passed away. Mr. John Lennon had passed away anyway. So he passed away in 1980 actually, and yeah, and so maybe I don't know. There was another member who passed away actually. And I think there are only two members who are still alive in this present time. And by the way, so I'm sorry, this can be a mistake anyway. So because the two studies, I'm not interested in Beatles. And by the way, so one of my best friends is a fan of Beatles, but actually, so I'm in my 30s, and he's in his 30s, and but actually, so he's a fan of Beatles, and I have said and many times, and anyway, so anyway, this time what I'm going to talk about is it's a topic about the United States of America. Well, this topic is an American topic, not British topic, but actually, so and the song I have sung. The song I have sung is Help, which is the name of that song anyway. So I should tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. Wait a moment, please. Yes, this application is still working well, and the title is Donald Trump, Part 3, and the conclusion is, it's a confederacy which has to supplant the United States. The first president of the confederacy is, of course, Mr. Donald Trump. And I should tell you, first of all, that that title stems from, or where that title was derived from. And this is not, maybe you don't know. So it's a basketball play, which is an origin of this title, and so that was an American basketball play, which was held by high school students, and that was an official match of basketball between some teams from maybe different different high schools in the United States of America, and that basketball play took place, or that basketball match, or that match of basketball took place just before at the time of the election of, or at the election of the presidency of Mr. Donald Trump. So Mr. Donald Trump is an ex-president of America, and he was, so the election was that presidential election took place in, maybe he became the prime minister, not prime minister, president in 2017, as long as if I'm correct. Anyway, I thought 2016 or 2017 actually, and after it, Mr. Joe Biden was chosen, and anyway, so and he which means, so Mr. Donald Trump is trying to become the next president of the United States of America, and I'm creating this episode in 2023. I'm creating this episode on January in 2023, which means, so not this year. So less than 2 years after, or less than 2 years later. So the next presidency is going to be started, and so so which means, so afterwards comes the inauguration of the next presidency, and the next president might. So anyway, so in this episode, I'd like you to choose. Well, I'd like you to vote for Mr. Donald Trump, and as I have told you, so so I have told you that it's great to establish the confederacy again. So there's a first confederacy which was established in maybe 1861 actually. So that, and the first confederacy of the CSA lasted for just 4 years, and that CSA had existed in the time of the Civil War in the United States, and that took place. And anyway, so which means, so the Civil War took place from 1861 to 1865, during which, so for example, state of Louisiana and or state of Florida and other southern states established the Confederacy, and they had fought against the United States of America, which was called the Civil War. And so, what I'm saying is that, it's necessary to, establish the CSA, or the second, Confederate State of America again. And anyway, so I have told you that, it's necessary to it's necessary to it's necessary to found CSA second time, but actually, so, you do not have to establish CSA next time, or CSA as a second time, or as the second time. And, my mother tongue doesn't have an article system, which is why, so, I'm often confused which article to use anyway. But actually, so I have pondered for these days, but actually, so, if you are thinking of preventing the occurrence of the Third World War, for example, so the presidency of Mr. Donald Trump has many merits or many advantages. Of course, every presidency has advantages or disadvantages or pros and cons. So considering which, so, the presidency of Mr. Donald Trump must have some disadvantages. But actually, so, so evaluating or sizing up the government, which may be managed or administered by so Mr. Donald Trump can be lucrative or beneficial, or, profitable as a whole, or, in general, in favor of the United States of America. So, or, if he found for example, so CSA, and CSA replaces, or CSA supplants the incumbent United States of America, so if such a thing occurs, so, of course, Mr. Donald Trump is going to manage, or Mr. Trump is going to, so control the businesses of CSA. But actually, so I think that is, so, considering the benefits or the advantages, so American people can get from the presidencies of United States of America. And Mr. Donald Trump can give them the best, the highest benefits, which is what I'm saying. But actually, so, that is because, United States is spending a lot of money for Ukraine, for United States helps Ukraine. Well, United States supports, United States subsidizes Ukraine in many ways, from the monetary support to, and recently, so that government decided to supply some weapons, or I forgot the name of that tank. So I forgot the name of that tank, and not Leopard. Leopard is a German tank, and I thought Abraham actually. So as long as I can remember, so Abraham, I think, was the name of the tank United States is going to supply Ukraine with. Anyway, so, but actually, such support, or such subsidiaries cost a lot of money, and which and the source of that cost is taxes paid by U.S. citizens or American citizens. So which is why, so, and there's a story that, Mr. Donald Trump has an idea, or has ideas, or how Mr. Donald Trump has some strategies to stop the Russo-Ukrainian war. So considering which, so, for the sake of the peace of the entire world, So he needs to be chosen. Well, Mr. Donald Trump needs to be chosen, and which is why I'd like you to vote for Mr. Donald Trump if you are U.S. citizens, or if you are American citizens, and. But of course, so I don't have any ability to control the those circuits of electorate or American electorate in this context of this podcast or of this episode. And but actually, so another idea is that, so if in this case, so you need to classify things, for analyzing possible futures, or analyzing, the near and possible futures. For example, so if other people than Mr. Donald Trump are to be chosen, or if other people different from Mr. Donald Trump it's chosen, another other people, another person different from Mr. Donald Trump is chosen in, for example, 10 years after, 10 years after this time, or 10 years after 10 years later. So there may happen a split inside the United States of America, or so many people say that, so America may be divided into two groups, or into some groups, but actually, so at least for thinking, considering the performance as the president of America. So Mr. Donald Trump is suitable, and so if Mr. Donald Trump is chosen as the next president two years later, so such a split, it is unlikely that such a split would happen. So so which means, so that's such a split inside the soil of America is unlikely to occur if Mr. Donald Trump is chosen as the next president of America, and which is why, and of course other reasons are, so for example, Mr. Donald Trump is going to stop the subsidies, or support in many aspects in favor of Ukraine. So which is why, so United States can reduce the costs, what United States can lower the costs, which have loaded, or which has been supported by the payments of U.S. citizens, and they have paid a lot of taxes, and in favor of that, it's possible to say that American people have paid a lot of taxes for Ukrainian people. It's possible to say so, but actually, so if Mr. Donald Trump becomes the next president of the America, so it's possible that Mr. Donald Trump is going to stop such extra payments, and he may pay a lot of money for he may support so U.S. citizens more generously, which is what I'd like you to think about. And another stuff is that, so after the presidency of Mr. Donald Trump, and Mr. Donald Trump is in his 70s, and each presidency of United States of America lasts for 4 years, and after the second presidency of Mr. Donald Trump, so thinking about such a situation, the presidency of Mr. Donald Trump is better off. So why I can say is that, so for example, so the president of Russia is Mr. Vladimir Putin, and Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, and he's old, and Mr. Xi Jinping, who is the president of mainland China, and he is also old. So I'm recording this episode in 2023. So summing up the duration until the end end of the next presidency, which may managed by which may be managed by Mr. Donald Trump is 6 years or 6 years, which means 6 years after this president's time is the bottom line anyway. So in that future, well, 6 years later, so those two leaders of Russia and China will have been replaced by other successors or other people. So because they are so roughly saying in 6 years, and the president of Russia and the president of China of the mainland China will have retired. So which is what I'm saying. So and considering which, so what you have to, and if you are American citizens, what you have to focus on, well, what I'd like you to focus on is to vote for Mr. Donald Trump, so that you can prevent, for example, you can prevent a split inside the United States, and you can prevent prevent the occurrence of the Third World War or the Third World War or World War III, and and if you are worried about Ukrainian people, and it's all right. So if Russia beat Ukraine, so there is no problem, because they are the same people, or they are of the same ethnic group, and so there is no danger in European countries. And maybe I don't know much about the benefits, or I don't know much about the situation of European countries in terms of this war. But actually, so considering the benefits of American people in the United States, or in the CSA, so anyway, you should choose Mr. Donald Trump as the next leader of America, which is. And so anyway, so I have told you enough. So which is how should I say? Which is a kind of help, and in such a which is a help I'm asking for which is a help I'd like you to do in favor of me, or in favor of even East Asian people. And I live in an East Asian developed country, and the name of that country is Japan. And by the way, my mother tongue is Japanese. And maybe I have told you enough. So which is why, so I'm going to end this episode. Wait a moment, please. The title is Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, and the conclusion is it is the Confederacy which has to supplant the United States. Which has to supplant the United States. And the first president of the Confederacy is, of course, Mr. Donald Trump. So the Confederacy, it doesn't have to be established, or the Confederacy doesn't have to be founded. But actually, so anyway, Mr. Donald Trump needs to be chosen as the next president of the America for the sake of, for the safety and for the peace of the entire world, including the United States of America, which is why I created this episode. So that's it. Thank you very much for your listening. See you. This is a caution. So if Mr. Donald Trump is chosen as the next president of America, so I can surely say that Mr. Donald Trump can prevent the occurrence of the Third World War at 100%, or I can't say that Mr. Donald Trump it's surely going to. I can't say whether Mr. Donald Trump can prevent the 100% of can surely prevent the occurrence of the Third World War. I can't say whether he can stop the provocation of the Third World War. But actually, so what I have posted in this episode, or what I have told you in this episode is it's just an idea for which means anyway. But actually, so if you choose Mr. Donald Trump as the next president of America, so I think so you will never watch the occurrence of the Third World War in incoming 6 years. So after his presidency, there is nothing I can surely say, but actually, so so since considering the ages of the political leaders of Russia, China, and America, so the Third World War is not likely to occur. The Third World War will not be likely to occur. I think is which I think is a better way to say. So anyway, so in the future, so I don't think the Third World War is not going to occur after the presidency of Mr. Donald Trump, which is what I'm saying. And of course, this I can't surely say that the Third World War is not going to occur. So please make sure this point. Please make sure this point. This is a correction. So I made a mistake in the name of that tank of America. So that tank was decided to be supplied for Ukraine, and the name of that American tank is Abrams, not Abraham. So I mistakenly said Abraham, but actually the correct name of the tank is Abrams. Hello everybody, I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version, and let me tell you the stuff about the beginning part. Let me tell you the reason of the beginning part of this episode, and that is a sound effect of the movie It. And if you have no idea what's the meaning of it, or everybody understands the meaning of the pronoun it. But actually, so I told you, or the it I spoke out is not common noun, but proper noun. Proper noun is the it of proper noun is what I'm talking about. And the title it is a title of movie, and which is based on the novel having the same title, and that novel was written by Mr. Stephen King, and I respect that author, and that is because one of the I read one of his books. I read one of his books, and according which is I don't know how to read the title. And to start with, I don't remember the exact title, but anyway, there's a novel dealing with the assassination of Mr. John F. Kennedy, and so anyway, so I read that November 1963, November 1963 to 22nd, the title of that novel is stuff like that, in which, maybe, Mr. John F. Kennedy was assassinated in November in 1963, as long as I could remember, anyway, but actually, there's a novel dealing with the assassination, and after I read that novel, so my heart was cured, back then, or before reading that book. So I was worried about my life was, generally speaking, I wasn't happy anyway. So I had been worried about, I should have chosen that way, in the past. Or I should have chosen another way on this point in the past. I have thought such a thing before I read that novel, and after reading that novel, so I came to realize that this is I think this is the happiest way for me for walking through to the end of my life. Such a thing is what I could realize by reading that book written by Mr. Stephen King, anyway. And this time is about, by the way, this time is about Mr. Donald Trump, and who has been under arrest, maybe. So the days before or weeks before he was arrested, and he got under arrest, and which means he got apprehended, and that is, I think, that is unfortunate stuff. That is because I think it's difficult to explain. It's difficult to explain. So I don't think I don't think he can become the greatest leader in the course of in the history of the United States of America. But if America chose him as the next president of the United States, I think America could, or the United States I think the United States of America could have a would be able to avoid, or how should I say, I mistakenly chose the tense. So if the United States of America had chosen, so so simple past simple is fine. So if the United States of America chose Mr. Donald Trump as the next president of the United States of America, and the United States of America will have been able to avoid, or may have been able to, or may have avoided the split which is going to which may occur in the future. Anyway, so if you have no idea about what I said, so anyway, so Mr. Donald Trump Mr. Donald Trump has been arrested, which means maybe he can't become the next president of the United States of America, which is the situation of this present time. And by the way, this time is in the middle of April in 2023, and which means, so the next year comes the next presidency of coming after Mr. Joe Biden, or coming after the president Mr. Joe Biden. Anyway, and so but actually, so Mr. Donald Trump Mr. Donald Trump can't become the president, which means another president is going to be chosen. But actually, so Mr. Donald Trump has a large population of advocates or supporters. Anyway, so which means they can provoke an uprising, or they can provoke a revolt against the incumbent government, or against the president government, or governing or controlling the United States of America, because there are many advocates or supporters who respect Mr. Donald Trump. And so by knowing the fact that Mr. Donald Trump has no possibility of being chosen as the next president of America, so such supporters or such advocates may choose to provoke or may choose to start a revolt, or start a rebellion against the incumbent government of the United States of America, which is what I'm worried about. And that is the main track of this episode, and maybe I should call that part the introduction. Anyway, so here I'd like to tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. Maybe I have told you. Maybe not. Anyway, I'm going to tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. Wait a moment, please. The title is Donald Trump Part 4. And the conclusion is Mr. Donald Trump becoming the president of the United States US is fine. Whoever becomes the president, poor people stay poor people, foolish people. And this is a reality. This is how reality goes. Well, this is how reality has come, or has been going from the ancient time until now, which is the fact. And the reality is going to go in this way, which means poor people are poor people, and foolish people are foolish people. And which is, I have told you the reality of this world. And whoever is going to be chosen as the next president of the United States of America, and do not think about how to improve their own lives, and foolish people stay foolish, and which is why they don't even try to improve their own lives. So they don't even try to study hard for acquiring profitable skills. For example, so becoming physicians or becoming doctors is one of the ways to raise your own incomes, for example. And another stuff is to acquire programming skills, so that you can become engineers or you can become programmers, or you can become engineers, or people like them. But actually, foolish people do not even choose to study profitable skills, and which is why they are foolish and they are poor. Foolish people are poor people, and poor people, and in the case of poor people, so there are some not expectation, but exceptions. There are some exceptions, or so there must be some smart poor people but actually such smart but poor people have possibilities of becoming rich people. And because they study hard, if they are given, if those smart and poor people are given opportunities to improve their own lives, but actually poor and impoverished and foolish or fool people do not study or do not learn anything from their experiences, which is why they stay foolish, or they stay poor, or they stay impoverished, which is the reality. Whoever is under the presidency of any American president, which is why, so if Mr. Donald Trump is chosen, if Mr. Donald Trump is chosen as the next president of the United States of America, so the fact or the reality is that poor people stay poor people from now to the end of his presidency, which is a fact. So which is why, so unfortunately, so whoever is chosen as the next president, as the next president, so foolish people are foolish people. There is going to be no change in their lives. But actually, so what matters is that United States needs to avoid the split of their country themselves, of their country itself. United States is one sovereign country. Yes, maybe, and that sovereign country incorporates 50 states and some territories. Anyway, and what should I tell you? Which I have told you the necessary stuff. So which is why, so if you're American and if you choose other candidates than Mr. Donald Trump, they have possibilities, or they have risks, or those candidates have dangers of splitting or separating the United States of America into two or more groups, meaning or the most remarkable or the most comprehensive example is the Confederacy. Anyway, so other candidates may cause people to provoke a rebellion or rebellions or revolts, and which may lead to the resurrection or the birth of the Second Confederacy or Confederate States of America. I don't know how to call the I don't know how to call the southern states in the time of the middle of of 19th century, between 1861 to 1865, there was a civil war in the United States of America, and the Confederacy I'm talking about is the Confederacy. Well, so better said, the Confederacy I'm talking about is a futuristic one, meaning so there can be the second Confederacy or the second Confederate States of America, which may be established in the future, which is what I'm saying by avoiding to choose, by avoiding choosing, or by avoiding electing Mr. Donald Trump after Mr. Joe Biden, which is what I'm saying, and that's all actually. So at last, so I'm going to tell you the origin of this title. I'm going to tell you the origin of the title of this episode, and that was the election of the presidency, which chose Mr. Donald Trump at first. Anyway, maybe that was 2016 or 2017 or around that time. And I live in Japan, but actually, there was an American basketball play which broadcast around that time, and I happened to watch that basketball play. That was a basketball play of high school students, and there were some white people who began to speak out Donald Trump many times against colored high school students or colored opponents who are colored high school students in that basketball play, which is what I'm saying, and which is why I use that event as for creating the title of this episode, and which is that basketball play is the original event of this title. Anyway, so there's another stuff to tell you. So which is, so if there's a possibility of choosing Mr. Donald Trump as the next president, meaning, so if Mr. Donald Trump can participate in the election or the presidential election after this presidency controlled by Mr. Joe Biden, which means so if Mr. Donald Trump participates in the election of deciding the next president after Mr. Joe Biden, who is the incumbent president. So please vote for Mr. Donald Trump, which is another stuff I'd like to tell you this time. So I almost said prime minister because this country, the leader of this country is a prime minister. So the leader of this country is the emperor, but actually Monday stuff is controlled by, or the governmental works are controlled by the prime minister of this country, which is why I almost mistakenly said prime minister instead of president. So that's it. Anyway, I should tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. Wait a moment, please. The title is Donald Trump, and the conclusion is Mr. Donald Trump becoming the president of the US is fine. Whoever becomes the president, poor people stay poor people, foolish people foolish. So so if you'd like to, if you are poor people, if you are impoverished people, so it's fine to create your own business for creating money or creating monetary benefit or other types of benefit for you. What matters when it comes to becoming rich is that, so you of course you need to work hard first, but actually you need to focus on creating a system for making profit in favor of you, or making what you have to do is to create a scheme or system producing benefits instead of your working, which is the point of becoming rich. Anyway, so that's it. Thank you very much for listening. See you. So by the way, I was talking about the participation of Mr. Donald Trump, but actually, so the correct the correct meaning of the party of his participation is that I'd like so if Mr. Donald Trump runs if Mr. Donald Trump runs for the next election of the next presidency or stuff like that, So I'd like you to vote for Mr. Donald Trump, which is what I said, I thought the phrasal verb run for, so run for, which means I'd like, well, I think Mr. Donald Trump should run for the election of the next presidency, to choose for choosing the next president coming after Mr. Joe Biden, which is what I'm saying. So the participation, Mr. Donald Trump participating in the election in the next presidential election as a candidate of becoming the next president is what I'm saying. And in such a situation, I'd like you to vote for Mr. Donald Trump, which is what I said. And I'm going to create a short time of episode, or which means I'm thinking of finishing this episode for a brief time, or in a brief time. But actually, so anyway, this is a first time, but this is a fifth one in the same series. And how should I proceed? Well, how should I proceed? Anyway, so maybe I should tell you the title at first, and after which it's fine to tell you the conclusion. And so I don't think it's necessary to digress in the course of this episode, or in the course of recording this episode. And the title of this episode is Donald Trump, and Donald Trump, and part 5. And I have just stumbled because what I'm speaking is a non-native language, or I don't speak English natively. And by the way, so my mother tongue is Japanese, and I live in Japan. And hello everybody, I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version. And anyway, so I haven't told you the conclusion of this episode, and I have told you the title of this episode. And the conclusion of this episode is Mr. Donald Trump is going to become the next president. Everybody is waiting for his coming back. And I'm creating, first of all, then I should tell you the time of this recording, and I'm creating this episode in the end of June in 2023, not 1923, in 2023, and the month is June, and the end of June is the time of this episode, and which means there was a conference between there was a diplomatic conference between Mr. Blinken, and he's a politician in the United States, or anyway he occupies a higher position in the government of America, and he met I forgot the name of that Chinese person, but actually he also met Xi Jinping, who is the president of mainland China. And but actually, so I read the news of this country, and which is Japan, and according to that news, so Mr. Blinken looked weak against Mr. Xi Jinping, and which is why, so it was like Mr. Blinken was prostrate, yes. According to, so he didn't actually prostrate, but actually, wait a moment, please. Maybe I may be using the word in a wrong manner. So wait, let me check out the actual meaning. Prostrate. Prostrate is fine as an English word, and Mr. Blinken Blinken. Yes. And Mr. Anthony Blinken, and it's fine. So I think that is fine. Which is my perspective. But actually, so according to the news, and according to the news, Mr. Blinken looked like a big person, and Xi Jinping looked like a strong and powerful person, like an emperor. And Mr. Blinken looked like a vassal or subordinate person, following or obeying the emperor, who is Xi Jinping. Of course, Mr. Xi Jinping, who is the president of mainland China, is a president, not the emperor. But actually, China had in the course of Chinese history, that country had, or that Chinese continent had many empires, or that country had experienced many empires and many emperors. So it is why, so that news, I mean, that is a Japanese news. But actually, so I think there must be some other online news using the same terms and talking about, or describing the same stuff, and which means, so according to those online news, Mr. Blinken didn't successfully meet Mr. Xi Jinping. But actually, it's natural, because so Mr. Xi Jinping is the greatest leader in China, and so in this world, so I assume that some of the listeners are other people living in the world of 100 years after this present time, which means, as I have told you, I'm creating this episode in the end of June in 2023. So you may be a person who is listening to this episode in the end of June in 2123. It's possible. If this episode survives for 100 years, and in this world, so there are really two countries conflicting each other. There are two huge parties conflicting each other, and one which is the traditional one, which is the United States of America, and the other is Republic of China, or mainland China. People call that country China, or mainland China, and which is the other group, or which is the other party conflicting America, or conflicting against America. And so which is why Mr. Blinken, having been polite toward Mr. Xi Jinping, who is Mr. Xi Jinping, who is the leader of the other party, is really natural. Mr. Blinken was really the attitude toward of Mr. The attitude of Mr. Blinken when he met Mr. Xi. So which was that attitude is what I'm talking about. When he met Mr. Xi Jinping, so the attitude of Mr. Blinken was moderate, or ordinarily polite, or ordinarily polite toward Mr. Xi Jinping. But actually, so anyway, according to many online news, the attitude of Mr. Blinken was not so good. And people didn't have good impression about the attitude of Mr. Blinken. But actually, so how this is related to Mr. Donald Trump is that, so I read an article, and at the last of that article, there was a sentence which means so So I'm looking forward to the next presidency of Mr. Donald Trump, or something like that. So translating translating that sentence into English language, the meaning is, so I'm waiting for Donald Trump coming back to the next president, which is the meaning of the last sentence, or which was the meaning of the last paragraph, or the last writing of in that article I read. So which is why, so actually, so people, I mean, in heart of heart, or internally, or in the deepest parts of the people all over the world. So many people want Mr. Donald Trump to become the next president of the United States of America. And so I have told you the origin of the title of this series, and I wrote the words Donald Trump 3 times, and that is because, so that was when the first election of Mr. Donald Trump was held, and there was a match of basketball game, and in the time of the election of Mr. Donald Trump, so there was a basketball match, and so maybe that it was when a high school student who is a colored person got the ball, and he had the ball, and he was proceeding to the goal of the opponent. So in that basketball game, so the spectators or other high school students who are the students of the opponent, I think, and those white students began to say Donald Trump, Donald Trump, and those students began to repeat his name against that colored player, and which is why, so I used this term, or I used his name for 3 times, and which is the original event, or which, and that basketball play was the original event of the title of this series. And anyway, so there was such a scene in a television program, and maybe most of you do not remember the scene of that basketball match, and I don't think you can remember the match of that basketball, and maybe most of you have not seen that match or that game of basketball, in which there was a colored student who was trying to shoot the ball to the goal of the opponent, and that maybe the white students of the opponent schools, not the opponent schools, but the white students of the other school began to say Donald Trump to that colored student, and there was such an event in the past. Maybe it was that basketball game, or that basketball match took place in 2016, I think, as long as I can remember. And anyway, there was such an event, and anyway, but actually, so there, and in the case of this presidential election, I mean, this is if Mr. Donald Trump becomes next president, and that is going to become the second presidency for Mr. Donald Trump. And but actually, in this election, so Mr. Donald Trump has many opponents who are the candidates of the president of America. I mean, so he has many candidates he has to fight, he has to compete against, and that large number of candidates are trying to become becomes next president of America, and of course they chose to, or they decided to become the candidate of of you know of the next president. That is because the sole purpose is to stop Mr. Donald Trump becoming the next president of America. And but actually, I'm sorry, but actually, the attempt may fail. I think I mean that the attempt is the attempt of those candidates trying to fight against Mr. Donald Trump, because I anyway, if Mr. Donald Trump becomes the president of the United States, so I think he can anyway, whatever means he chooses, so or he is going to choose in the future, so he can stop the war. He can stop the last Ukrainian war. I mean, the last Ukrainian war was the war I have just spoken about, and I think he can in whatever means. So or with whatever ways, or in whatever ways. So Mr. Donald Trump can stop the war which is taking place between those two belligerents, and one of which is Russian Federation and the other is Ukraine, and other countries or other West European countries, including America, are helping Ukraine. And but actually, in whatever ways, and Mr. Donald Trump can stop that war, and which is how the peace of this world is going to come again. So in such a sense, so Mr. Donald Trump should become the next president of America, and wait a moment, please. So which is what I'd like you to know this time. But actually, as many people have already known that future, which means if Mr. Donald Trump becomes the next president of the United States, so he can bring the world peace back to this world, which is what many people have already known. So which is why I wrote in the conclusion that so Mr. Donald Trump is going to become the next president. Everybody is waiting for his coming back. So which is what I'd like you to know this time. So I'm going to tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode, and I don't have to repeat the conclusion. So the title is Donald Trump, Part 5. And the conclusion is what I have just said. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening, and see you. And if you are American citizens, and if you are American electorate, so please vote for Mr. Donald Trump 1 year after or 2 years after this time. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening. See you.